Community. Oh, I'm so glad we get to hang out this way. Pastor Brad here, if we've not met, and I'm glad you're joining us for our daily Bible reading. Today, our reading is in Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 24. Join me as I read it. It says, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." Man, this is an intense passage, but it's an important and necessary passage that Jesus talks. And what he's talking about is what's our motivation? What's your motivation? And let's start with the end, that you can't serve two masters. You can't serve both God and money. And what Jesus is doing is not condemning wealth per se, but he is denouncing a devotion to wealth. He is saying, hey, look, it's not good when all of a sudden all our faith, hope, and security is placed on what we can gather here on earth or how much wealth we can amass. And really, it was an important conversation to have with people back then. It's important for us to hear and to be reminded of, but people that Jesus was talking to really struggled with the idea that the more earthly wealth you gathered, the more material possessions you had, actually it shows that you had more favor with God. So they put the two together, and that's just not true. That's not what Jesus was talking about here. What we see in verse 20 is that Jesus is wanting us to use our earthly assets, our wealth, to focus on what's heavenly, what's eternal. That's what he wants us to use our means for. And Jesus does this interesting analogy in verse 22 and 23, where he begins to talk about the eyes or this lamp of the body and darkness and light and all this stuff. But basically what Jesus is saying is, look, if your eyes are unhealthy, then there's going to be no light coming in. And so what's happening is you're left in darkness. And how much worse when the problem is not just related to the external perception, but an internal corruption of our entire nature, of our whole selves. That darkness emanates from within us and affects our whole being. And so what Jesus is warning is, look, if this is your path, if you stick with superficial earthly religion, focusing on what kind of wealth I can gain or how much material possession I can gather before my neighbor or anything like that, he says your hearts will be dark if what you're doing is putting your faith and your hope and your love and your devotion in money or something other than your relationship with God. Because here's the thing that Jesus says. You can't serve both God and money. You can't serve both God and your own desires. You can't serve both God and yourself. I know that's a hard thing for some of us to chew on today, but it is important to understand. And we have to talk about it. We have to address it. You can't serve both God and whatever. Fill in the blank. But when you choose to serve God, I can tell you this, when you choose to focus on God, what it does is it actually elevates your relationships. Because it's no longer about what I can get out of whatever relationship, but what I can give to my relationships with family and friends and coworkers and relatives and you name it. It's not about what I can get from them, but what I can give to them. And what if that changed? What if just that simple change was something that we live by today? How would that change our relationship with our spouse, our kids, our coworkers, our friends, people we run into, people that we typically say, they don't look like me, so I don't know if I like them very much. Not what I can get, but what can I give? So my invitation to you today is to focus on serving Jesus and see what kind of gift you can give because of it. Love you guys. Can't wait to see you soon.